Before I get going with the exercises, I promised myself I wouldn't talk for 10 minutes before getting into things. Thanks, Reed. Real quick before I get going, one thing I wanted to address here is a lot of the questions that I've been getting have been revolving around sitting, and I just think it's worth noting that as we have changed our work environments now, for the most part being at home, we're still sitting, but the environment is very different. We have other things going on. Maybe the desks are different, the computers are different. So with all these differences, we need to be aware of how we're feeling. When we were, at our old places of work doing whatever, we felt a certain way. Maybe our necks were sore, our shoulders were sore, back, whatever it might be. But maybe now that we're at home and our setup is different, maybe we have different aches and pains. And it's important to note, the environment that I put myself in can affect the way I feel. And that goes for not just having really shitty pain and maybe your neck hurts and your back and your shoulder. Your environment has the ability to make you feel better as well. So you don't have to spend time with me here during these follow-alongs or doing a bunch of maintenance work. So we just need to hey Josh, we need to kind of just take our environments into consideration. If you're spending 8 hours at a desk and you're hunched up here, maybe that could be the issue, and maybe if you improve that, you can improve the way you feel. So we can't just say, oh, my desk is making me feel like crap. Well, you're allowing that to happen. You're letting that happen, because maybe we should start to adjust our posture so we can sit upright, maybe take breaks every 20 to 30 minutes, and we can work within our environment to actually make us feel better. So we don't need to feel bad because of our environments. We can actually work with them to help us feel good. And that goes for exercising within them, stretching within them, putting your computer so your screen is at your eye level, and that goes for your phone too. I'm the weird guy on my phone with it up at my face because I don't want to be here. I don't want to have that constant neck flexion, maybe tightening things here, or I don't want to be forward, tightening stuff in the back. So that's that. We're going to get right into the exercises and stretches today. I did ask if you could bring a towel, like a face towel or a strap, so I'm going to give you a second to do that while I kind of set up over here, because we're going to get right into it with some mobilizations for our neck, mobilizations for our nerves, mobilizations for our thoracic spine, and then we're going to kind of lock it all together with a little bit of strengthening and stability work for our neck and shoulders. So follow along. It's going to be saved to my Instagram Live, YouTube, all that stuff. So I'm going to be back here. So all you're going to need is that towel. If you have a thin strap, you're going to actually want to probably just put that down and save it for later. You can do the same thing with our hands. I just don't want to pinch the skin on the back of your neck. But we're going to get right into mobilizing your neck. We spend all this time here. We get really stiff. And we're going to give it some feedback, give some input to our neck to help mobilize things a little bit. So you're going to just wrap your towel up, fold your towel up, and we're going to be pulling in a forward direction. And if you don't have a towel, you can do it with your hands. You can just gently pull on the back of your neck and then extend your head. And we're going to go through 10 reps. And you can kind of move the towel up and down the back of your neck. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to pull forward and go back. And maybe you get some snaps and cracks and pops, and that's okay. You move it down, make sure you get the lower part of your neck as well. And that's it. That's an easy mobility drill that you can do throughout your day. Maybe you've been sitting for a long time, maybe you've been on your screen for a while. That might be a good one. And like I said, you can just use your hands to pull forward and go back. So we're trying to get some extension into our cervical spine, maybe because we've been giving it flexion all day looking at our laptop or our computer screen. And so the next thing we're going to do is go into a chin tuck, which creates retraction. So this is flexion, forward protraction of our spine. We're going to create some retraction where we kind of stack our head back over our shoulders. And this is going to open up the joints in our neck. It's going to give our nerves that come out the side of our spine some room to breathe, because we're going to be mobilizing them later. We're going to be moving our nerves. And you'll see that here coming up. But we're going to take our heads from this forward position and we're going to bring it back. I'm going to show you from the side. It's a real flattering exercise. You're basically going to give yourself a double chin. Now this might be something that if you are currently having neck pain, like I was yesterday, my wife will tell you, I was asking her to grab on my upper trap, and that helped immensely to kind of loosen me up, and then I did some of these. I did some chin tucks. And I brought my head back, and because I'm hurting on my right side, and I know I tilt my head to the left all day, I actually want to load that side up. But for you, you might want to just chin tuck, so bringing your head back, and then going into extension. If the extension hurts or it's uncomfortable, just do the retraction. We're going to go for 10. And like I said, because the right side of my neck hurts, I can retract and go to the right side. You need to make this ridiculous space. Make sure you send pictures to all of your friends so they can make fun of you. But you're making these retractions and you're going to the side. And you're just going to do 10. So if you hurt on the right side, go to the right. If you hurt on the left, go to the left. If you just have a stiff, achy neck in general, just go backwards. And if that bothers you, just do the retraction. Good. So the first drill with the towel was, we've been spending time down here. We want to give it some extension, but maybe we've been forward with extension and we want to open that up and take some of the compression off and then load up the side a little bit so our joints can move a little bit better. And so we're going to go over some isometrics to strengthen all the big movers of our neck. A lot of times we passively are just sitting there in either this head down or head forward position, and our neck muscles just get weak. And I said this last week, we don't often train our neck muscles. We're not working it into the way that we're training with all of these, online workouts or kettlebell work or home workouts or whatever it might be. We're not often focused on our neck, which is a huge part of our core. It controls the circuitry that goes down into our hands and our arms. And so it is really important. Maybe we should have some stability and control too. And the easiest way to ease into this is through isometrics, or creating muscle contractions without movement. And so all you're going to do is you're going to take your hands, and the first one is going to be on the front of your head. You're going to put them right on your forehead. And I'm going to push my hands into my forehead, and I'm going to push my forehead into my hands, and no movement's going to occur. And that's going to, you'll see the muscles in the front of my neck kind of stick out. And we're just going to do 3. And they're for about a 1 to 2 second hold. Good. And I'm nice and tall. 3. So I've done 3. I've worked on my neck flexors. Now I'm going to go on to the guys that side bend to the left. I'm just going to go on the side of my head. I'm going to push, 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 and relax. And that's it. Push, 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 relax, and 1 more. Push, push, and relax. Now I'm going to work my way around. I'm going to go to the back now. So I'm pushing back, but I'm pulling forward with my hands. Sometimes you'll even get a crack or a pop with this one. But you want to make sure that you have that good retracted position that we talked about with the chin tuck. You don't want to be doing these in these inefficient, terrible postures. You don't want to reinforce that. You want to reinforce good posture. And so you're just up nice and tall. And 1 more to the back or to the front, however you want to think about it. And then we're moving to the other side of our head. And these guys are great to break up your sitting every 20 to 30 minutes. Gets your neck kind of woken up so it's ready to sit there for another 20 or 30 minutes. You don't just get really weak in this position. So maybe you've done hip flexor stretches throughout your day and you're like, okay, I need something new. Well, the isometrics for your neck are great to help reinforce this upright posture. All right, so we've mobilized your neck. We've reintroduced good standing head up posture. Now we're going to mobilize your nerves. And so in my video that I posted a little while ago, you saw me on a screen. I had my hands flexed. I was rolled forward, putting a lot of slack or tension actually into my pecs and my upper traps. And what goes through all of these muscles are nerves that run down our arm. The big one with the screen use and the computer and the typing is our median nerve, which goes through our carpal tunnel and gives sensation and control to the palm of our hand. That's very, very general. It does some pretty specific things and is in pretty specific areas of our palm. But a lot of times if we're getting pain in our hand and we notice maybe we have some tightness in our neck, maybe they're related. Maybe the tightness in your hand is causing some of the pain in your neck or vice versa. So you're going to stand with this tall posture. I'm going to do my right side first, and then I'm going to do my left side. When I'm standing tall, I'm going to have my elbow bent, and my hand against my chest. And I'm going to bring my hand away from my chest. I'm going to bring my fingers so they point behind me, and then I'm going to tilt my head away. And then I'm going to bring my head back, my hand and my elbow back to where I started. And if this creates severe pain, severe, like I do not want to do that again, what you're going to do, instead of bringing your hand away and tilting away, you're actually going to bring your head towards that side. And you're going to go through these. And you're still gliding that median nerve in its pathway, but maybe a little bit more comfortable. And if that still bothers you, take your hand out of it and just move your elbow. But I'm going to go away, this way. You're doing 10 on each side, 3 more. Remember, be tall, have good posture. All right, and 1 more. It's important to smile during these times, release those endorphins. I'm going to move over so you can see my other hand. So I'm opening up the elbow, hand goes back, side bending away. 10 times each side. So we're just opening up your chest. We're lengthening that median nerve down its pathway and putting a little bit of stretch, a little bit of input to the nerve. And maybe it sends some input up in your nervous system and says, hey, this is okay. It's okay to be stretched out. We spend so much time here. Maybe it's okay if we get back into these open positions and I can put my arm behind me, or I can put my arm overhead a little bit more freely. I think I have 2 more left. And 1 more. All right. And so we have a bunch of other nerves that go down our arms, not just about the median nerve, but right now with all the hand use we have and all the gripping we're doing, that one I'd say should take priority over the other ones, the radial nerve, the ulnar nerve, the axillary, and a bunch of other ones that come down the arm. But this next mobilization or stretch is going to hit a lot of them. It's called an Egyptian. Now I'm going to have to move into the rig here just so you can see what my hands and my arms are doing so they don't go off screen here. But you're basically going to have both arms out with 1 palm up and 1 palm down. And from here, I'm going to actually look at the palm that's up. And I'm going to rotate my up palm as far as I can into internal rotation, trying to point my thumb backwards at the ground. And the other one, I'm rotating my hand. Hopefully you guys can see that, so my thumb points to the ground forward. I'm looking, and then I'm going to switch everything, including my head. I'm keeping my shoulders down, and I'm nice and tall. Maybe I feel a pull somewhere in my forearm or my neck, or maybe even shooting down behind my shoulder blade. And we're going to do 5 to each side. I think this is 3 or 4. We'll do 2 more. Keeping my shoulders down. I'm getting as much rotation in my shoulders as possible. Okay, so that's just a very general nerve mobilization. It's a very shotgun technique, not very specific, but maybe it can help kind of introduce that tension back into the system that we've taken out by being rounded and forward all the time. Now we spend a lot of time up in the neck and the shoulders, and so we're going to get a little bit more into the thoracic spine, loading the thoracic spine, working on our lats, doing some retraction exercises to undo all this crap so we can get nice and upright. And this first drill is called a hug and turn. It's going to open up your chest but also mobilize your thoracic spine. And you're going to be down on 1 knee. And if my left foot is forward, I'm going to take my left fist and I'm going to put it on the inside, the instep of my left foot. With my right hand, I'm going to hug underneath that. And then I'm going to open up with my thumb leading the way. And the thumb leading the way is going to put me into external rotation, so I can't shrug as easily. Now, it's still possible, but you have your best bet at not shrugging if you're in external rotation. We're going to make 8 on each side. So you hug under, and you open up, and you look, and you're going to make 8. 1, 2. One more. Good. And now you're exhaling as you're moving, so you don't have all that air in your lungs preventing you from getting as much mobility as you can get. Going right hand or left hand down on the instep of the same foot. And do 8 more. Breathing out. Maybe on each rep, trying to get a little bit more range of motion. One more. All right, so we're starting to mobilize the thoracic spine. We're going to go to the extreme here and do some cobras to get lots of extension, maybe even open up the hips a little bit. But today I want you to focus on your triceps. As far as shoulder muscles go, the tricep is often forgotten. We think about our deltoid, our rotator cuff, our bicep, our upper traps, our mid traps, all these things, but we can't forget about our triceps. And because we have our arms down by our side most of the day and we're not putting our arms up overhead, we're not stretching them out very much. And so we want to use them, tell them when to turn on and off, just like everything else that we keep shortened all day. You need to tell it when to turn on and turn off. And so we're going to be going through cobras, but I really want you to focus on what your triceps are doing, but focus also on keeping your shoulders away from your ears. We're just going to do 10, and I want you to go to whatever level you're comfortable with. I'm going to go really high up. I'm going to push my heart forward, chest forward, whatever you want to think. But you can just go up as little or as much as you want. I have my hands underneath my shoulders. I'm pushing up. Focus is on my triceps. And down. It's like the world's laziest push-up where my hips don't come off the ground. I'm getting lots of extension in my spine. And we're just going to go 10 reps. Focus on your triceps. Backs of the arms. You have 3 more. I think we're going into planks after this. Or a push-up position, sorry. Okay, so we've used the triceps a little bit. Should be feeling nice and loose. Now we're going to go into a push-up position and then into a plank, and then we're going to stretch out our chest a little bit more. So you're going to be in a push-up position, but you're not going to be actually doing push-ups. And if for some reason loading up your wrists in that position hurts, maybe straighten out your wrists and go up onto fists, or you can go into a quadruped position, so being here, because we're just going to be moving our shoulder blades around. I like the incorporation of the trunk work that we get from being in our push-up position, but we're going to be here. It's not imperative. You just kind of sink between your shoulder blades and then push up. This is called a push-up plus, and it's engaging the muscles that are underneath your shoulder blade, between your shoulder blade and your ribs. It's called your serratus anterior, and they're a really strong and powerful depressor. And a depressor of your shoulder blade. So if we're constantly going up here, we want these guys that are shortened and weak to fire and pull these guys down. And now your pecs are going to work, so we're going to stretch them out in a minute here because we have real tight pecs because we sit all day. But we're going to go through 10 reps of the push-up plus. You know, this is the modification, but for the rest of you who are in that push-up position, you're just going up and down. And if you need to go on your fists, be my guest, but you're pushing away from the floor as high as you can. You're separating your shoulder blades at the top as much as you possibly can. 3 more. All right, so we fired our triceps, our abs, our serratus, all these great muscles that are going to help us maintain a better posture. And now we're going to really lock them in. We're actually going to fire our lats and our abs and our glutes and our quads all at the same time. This is a full body exercise, and it's called a plank. But it's not just a plank, it's called a hard style plank. Now most of the time when we're planking, I'm going to stand up for this one. Most of the time when we're planking, we're just kind of hanging out here, and you could go. I think the world record was something like 12 hours or 10 hours it was set last year. But a hard style plank should be something that you cannot do for more than like 10 to 15 seconds. You are actually going to be pulling your elbows down towards your toes, tightening your glutes, tightening your abs, and using your lats, like you're doing a lat pull down, so hard that you absolutely have to stop after about 10 seconds, which is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna go 10 seconds on, 2-second rest, 3-second rest, pop back up, 10 seconds on, 2 seconds off, 10 seconds on. So we're gonna go through it 3 times for 10 seconds. Now, this is something that you can do on your knees, but I prefer if it's on your feet in that push-up position, but you get to be in a bent elbow position, so we're not gonna have any force on our wrists. So it's a low plank position. And you'll see my arms aren't gonna really go anywhere. You'll see this little move, and that's me engaging my lat to help stabilize my trunk. Our lats are very important shoulder muscle because they help us pull. They're a really powerful, big muscle that helps us pull us over things, onto things, up. Things that we don't do very often from this overhead position. So we're gonna use it. So you're going down in your plank position, tight butt, tight quads, and then you're pulling for 10 seconds, as hard as you can. And then you're relaxing. Then you're up and pulling as hard as you can, getting real tight. And relaxing, and we have one more. Whew. So you go up, tighten your butt, tighten your quads, tighten your abs, and pull. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Oh, and if that doesn't get the juices flowing, I don't know what will. Oh, all right, so we were just really hands forward using our pecs. So I do want to stretch them out. We're going to do a type of open book. But it's not the one I've been showing you where your arm kind of waves around here, okay? We're going to be on our side, and we're going to be getting a little bit more pec stretch by keeping our hand on the ground as we move. Now, I'm going to show you a rep. You're going to get down on the ground. Let's see here, make sure you guys can see me. All right, so your knees are going to be up towards your chest, holding legs down on the ground. Start with your palm down, and you're going to come up, and you're going to go as far as you can with your hand on the ground, and if your hand flips at about ear level, that's great. And then you go back. And then you bring it forward. All the while keeping your hand on the ground. And unlike me, that I was just doing, make sure you relax your head. If you need a pillow, go ahead and grab it. And we're just stretching out those pecs, mobilizing our thoracic spine even more. My knees are up by my chest, so I don't get the rotation in my lumbar spine, my low back. Whew. And I think I have one more. That makes it 8, and then I'm going to switch sides. All right, so going to the other way. Make sure you guys can see me. All right, so hand drags on the floor, open up all the way. You gotta miss the rig. Banging into all this metal behind me. Thought I'd give you guys something to look at besides my mug. All right, and 6 more. Open up that shoulder. Make sure you're breathing out as you're rolling back. Two more. Okay, and now, if you can't go all the way around with your hand on the ground, you just go as far as you can with your hand on the ground. The goal is not to actually be back there, the goal is just to keep your hand on the ground. Now we've mobilized our thoracic spines, the neck and shoulders and all that stuff. Now it's time that we give it some more stability through the shoulders. Now we're going to use the thoracic extension and mobility that we've been working on in a prone position. We're laying down on our bellies. And so if you have your towel handy, you're going to want it. We're going to need it for the last 3 things. Or a pillow, because for now it's just for your face, but the last thing you're going to want something to pull on. So you're just going to roll it up. It's going to be for your face. The first exercise is called a prone S. And the S comes from your hand placement. You're going to have one hand behind your head and one hand behind your back. And I'm going to show you in a second. It's like this. But if you can't get there and you can just get your hand on the back of your head, maybe just on your butt, that's fine too. Your goal is just to do as much as you possibly can. We're going to switch our hands back and forth while we're on the ground, okay? So to do that, you're going to need to produce lots of thoracic extension, something that as we're pulling or doing rowing exercises, to allow our shoulder blades to come back, we need to go into extension so they can go through a more powerful and stable range of motion. If we can't extend our thoracic spine when we pull, you have one place for your shoulder blade to go, and it's not down and back, it's up. Because that is a position of stability. It's really short here. We have our upper traps helping create stability, and then you're going to fake pulling, but you're going to reinforce that shrugged position, which we don't want to do. And so we're going to reinforce a down position through getting extension and moving our shoulders around a little bit. We're going to do 5 switches on each side, which is 10 total switches. Now, maybe you want to join in. You'll watch me do a few, and then you'll join in. Or you can follow along. Maybe you've done these guys before. So I come up, I switch, then I go down. And I keep my neck nice and long the whole time. I'm not doing this. This is bad news, okay? Nice long neck. And those are prone S's. This is something that you can even do just here in tall kneeling. You can do it standing. It's great at mobilizing your shoulders as long as you can get thoracic extension to help retract your shoulder blades. And now, sometimes we don't have a lot of equipment around and we need to do some pulling. Maybe we don't have a bench, we don't have weights. And this next exercise simulates a rowing movement, so retraction and pulling with our rhomboids and mid-trap muscles behind our back, but also forces us to open our chest and keep our shoulders away from our ears. And so if I'm laying down on the ground, I'm going to have my fists at about elbow level. I'm going to lift them off the ground. I'm going to extend my elbows, reaching for my heels. I'm going to bend my elbows again and then relax. We're going to do 10 of these. So I'm pulling off of the ground, and I'm reaching for my heels, coming back and down, okay? So we're going to be doing this in a prone position. You're not going to be lifting your head off of the towel, so that's going to stay down, but your shoulder blades are going to move. We're going to do 10. Here we go. And reach for your heels and down. Okay, 6 more. Reach for your heels. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. Okay, so 2 prone exercises, laying on your stomach exercises to help you with opening up your chest, strengthening your scapular stabilizers, the muscles between and around your shoulder blades, and also just reinforce an upright and open position or posture. Whew. Glad I had us bring a towel. All right, so last week we went over some isometrics. We were pulling the towel apart, reaching forward, or just pulling it apart for our rotator cuff. So we're going to work our rotator cuff and our lats and mid-traps together in an exercise that's going to help us keep our shoulder blades down, but introduce some stability through range of motion. Because stability isn't rigidity. Rigidity is just creating contractions of our muscles without moving, or isometric exercises, but gradually we need to start introducing movement to those strengthening exercises. In this one, I call it an isometric steering wheel. I don't know what you want to call it, but you're basically going to be taking the towel, you're going to be pulling at a diagonal. So if I had a stretchy band, I'd be pulling apart at a diagonal. So one shoulder is going to go down, and the other is going to come down and back as I'm pulling in this direction. You can stand, you can go into low kneeling like I am here, but you're going to pull apart. So I've got thumbs pointing away from each other. I'm pulling my towel apart, and then I'm switching. And I'm switching. So my muscles behind my shoulder blades are constantly pulling, but not creating any movement. That's the isometric portion. But my rotator cuff, my bicep, my traps are all helping create stability as I switch. Now I call it a steering wheel because it looks like I'm kind of driving a car poorly. Keeping my shoulders away from my ears. 3 more for 8 total. 1, 2, 2, 3, and 3. All right. So, there's a lot of stuff today. We mobilized our necks, we mobilized our thoracic spine, stretched out our shoulders, strengthened our rotator cuffs, strengthened our backs. We did a ton. Now, what I want you to do is just take what made you feel good. If you know that something, you're like, oh man, I need this. This felt really good after I did it. Every 30 minutes after you've been sitting at your desk or whatever your work situation is, stand up and do it, or go do it. 1 set. I give you a lot of stuff to choose from, so it's not like there's a lack of exercises. Every week I'm trying to, provide you with a little variety, find out what works. Oh man, Francis, I'm glad you felt, or Alicia, I'm glad you felt all of them. Oh my God, that was brutal. So, so what we're coming to realize is rehab isn't necessarily a bunch of easy stuff, okay? We need to stretch and mobilize when it's necessary, some of the lower level stuff. But then, once we can move better, we need to move more within that capacity. Kim, Ari Kim, you're welcome. It's been my pleasure. I want to make sure that we realize we need to get strong. The best way to prevent future injury or to get better from what we're dealing with is to get strong within our capacities. So you gradually build up your capacity to move well, and you layer some strength on top of that. You shouldn't be taking things out of your repertoire for good. That shouldn't be something that you say, oh, I just can't do that. Let's try to improve the way you move, improve your environments. Oh, you're welcome, Carol. Let's improve your environments so we can just feel better in general. So I think I heard this recently. It's like, don't get ready, be ready. We should always just be ready to work within our environments and do whatever. It's like, oh, I can go exercise right now. I can go work out. I shouldn't have to do, 20, 30 minutes of warming up to do that. So you're welcome, Austin. So please hit me up in my direct messages. You can find me at my website, kineticpotentialpt.com. My email address is kineticpotentialpt@gmail.com or mike@kineticpotentialpt.com. There's a million ways to find me. Easiest way is in my direct messages, especially if you found me here. Friday, we're going over hips and knees again. Once again, there's going to be quite a bit of stuff for the feet on that day. If you or anybody you know needs some loving for their hips or their knees, please send them my way. So I'm Dr. Mike with Kinetic Potential PT, and I will get to your questions if you wrote them down here as the day goes on or as the evening goes on, and I will get back to you hopefully by tonight or tomorrow. So all of you guys, have a great night. Awesome. Thanks, Katie. And I will see you guys on Friday for hips and knees. Thanks for joining in. Have a wonderful rest of your night, guys.